Kale crouched behind the glowing blue rocks, his breathing slow and careful. The air on Xenar was thick and humid, almost sticky. The trees were tall, with leaves that shimmered like metal under the twin moons. Strange birds with 4 wings circled. Above, this planet didn't feel right. It felt alive. Too alive. He touched the side of his helmet. "Recording on," he whispered. A small light blinked on his visor. Kale was not supposed to be there. Earth had sent him on a secret mission to spy on the alien race known as the Zoltrax. They were said to have solved climate collapse, something Earth had failed to do. Kale's job was simple: find out how the Zoltrax survived, record everything, and leave without being seen. But nothing about this mission was simple. The Zoltrax were tall and thin, their skin glowing faint green in the dark. They had no mouths, only eyes, large and deep, like they could see into your soul. They moved without sound, their feet floating inches above the ground. And somehow they controlled the weather. Kale had seen it with his own eyes, earlier that day. He watched a Zoltrax elder raise both hands to the sky. A violent storm appeared from nothing: black clouds, wind, and lightning. Then, with a slow breath, the elder calmed it all. The skies cleared in seconds. "This isn't technology," Kale said quietly to himself. "It's something else." He followed a group of Zoltrax into what looked like a forest. But this was no normal forest. The trees moved slightly even when there was no wind. Flowers opened when someone came close. The ground glowed with each step, like it could feel who was walking on it. Kale stepped carefully. He couldn't risk being seen. He activated his cloaking suit. To the eye, he was invisible. But even he knew the suit was not perfect. If one of the Zoltrax touched him, he'd be exposed. As he moved closer, he noticed something strange. The Zoltrax had formed a circle around a small pond. They placed their long fingers into the water. Slowly, the water changed color from clear to silver, then gold, then dark green. Suddenly, the plants around the pond began to grow, fast and wild. Vines wrapped around tree trunks. Leaves expanded. The air became cooler. Kale checked the temperature. On his suit, it had dropped by 5 degrees in seconds. "They're changing the environment," he said in awe. With thought, maybe with emotion, he reached for his recorder. That's when he heard it. A voice. Not loud, not sharp, but soft, curious. "Something is here." Kale froze. One of the Zoltrax turned its head slowly, looking directly in his direction. Its eyes narrowed. "Something watches." Another Zoltrax said. Kale didn't move. Not even a breath. A small Zoltrax child stepped forward, staring at the spot where Kale stood. Her eyes glowed brighter than the others. "I feel it," she said. Fear. Kale's heart pounded. Could they sense emotion? His training had prepared him for many things. But not this. The child reached out a hand. The vines on the ground slowly crawled toward Kale's foot. He took a small step back. Snap. A dry branch broke under his heel. The Zoltrax turned fully toward him. "There!" shouted one. Heel ran. He dodged glowing branches and ducked under twisting vines. The plants tried to hold him back. The forest itself was chasing him. His suit flickered once, then again. His invisibility was failing. He pressed a button on his wrist. A small burst of light exploded behind him, blinding the Zoltrax for a second. It gave him enough time to jump over a root and slide down a muddy hill. He didn't stop running until he reached a dark cave. Inside, Kale collapsed against the wall, his chest heaving. His suit was damaged. He'd almost been caught. But he had the recording. He had proof. "They feel emotion," he whispered. "They use it to shape the land, control the sky, heal the planet." He pressed his wrist again. "Message to Earth." "Command," he said. "Urgent. The Zoltrax aren't using machines. They're using life emotion. This forest, the storms, the temperature, it's all connected to how they feel." I saw a child grow a forest by dipping her fingers in water. Static crackled in his earpiece. Then a voice replied, "Message received. Prepare extraction. Your mission is now classified level red. Do not interact further." Kale lowered his hand. But deep inside, something felt wrong. They weren't just aliens. They weren't monsters. They were peaceful. Powerful, yes, but calm, gentle. He thought about the child's voice. The way she said, "I feel fear." And she wasn't wrong. Kale had been afraid, still was, but now. He was also curious. What if the real danger wasn't them? What if it was Earth? He stared at the dark ceiling of the cave. The forest above was alive. Watching, he wasn't sure who the real enemy was anymore, and he wasn't sure he wanted to go home. Kale woke to silence. The kind of silence that didn't feel peaceful but dangerous. The air in the cave was cold, wet, and heavy. He reached for his visor and checked the outside readings. The temperature had dropped again, even lower than last night. He stood slowly, careful not to make noise. His cloak suit had recharged, but the invisibility function was still weak. His escape yesterday had come at a cost. If the Zoltrax found him again, he might not be so lucky. Kale stepped out of the cave and looked around. Everything was still. But the trees, they were breathing. Their thick trunks expanded and contracted slowly, as if lungs were hidden beneath their bark. Mist curled from their leaves, rising and falling like foggy sighs. The ground pulsed under his feet with a quiet rhythm. "It's alive," Kale whispered. "All of it." He moved carefully between the trees, scanning his surroundings. There were no birds, no footsteps, no wind. Yet the forest moved. Vines slowly shifted direction, curling toward warmth. Bright flowers opened when he walked near. Even the moss lit up with each step. His voice shook. "It's not just a forest, it's listening." He crouched near a glowing flower and held up his scanner. The device blinked rapidly. The readings were strange. Life signs everywhere, more than just plants. There was a pattern, like each tree was connected. Each flower was part of something bigger. Then he heard a sound. A voice, soft, curious. "You came back." Kale spun around. No one there. He deactivated his cloak. From behind one of the thick trees, the small Zoltrax girl from before stepped out. Her skin shimmered green and gold, and her large glowing eyes stared straight into his. She was calm. "Not afraid, I knew you would," she said. Kale held up both hands. "I'm not here to hurt anyone. I was just watching." The child tilted her head. "Why do you fear us?" He didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "How did you do it? Yesterday? The pond, the forest, how did it grow so fast?" She stepped closer and reached out her hand. "Would you like to see?" Kale hesitated. But something told him she meant no harm. Slowly, he nodded. She led him deeper into the forest. The trees grew taller, thicker. Light didn't reach the ground anymore, but the plants glowed on their own. Casting blue and purple light, they reached a wide clearing. In the center was a pool of dark green water. Around it were strange stones, each pulsing with a faint heartbeat. The child walked to the edge of the pool and placed both hands into the water. Her eyes closed. Suddenly, vines shot up from the ground. Flowers bloomed in seconds. Trees leaned inward, like listening. The air turned cool and smelled of fresh rain. Kale took a step back. How are you doing this?" She opened her eyes. "We don't use machines. We use feeling." He blinked. "Feeling?" "Yes," she said. "The forest responds to us. When we are calm, it grows. When we are angry, it burns. The planet listens." Kale shook his head. "That's not possible. It breaks every rule of science." The girl smiled gently. "Your science is very loud. Our science listens." As he tried to process her words, the air suddenly changed. The peaceful quiet became heavy. The trees trembled. Slightly. The girl stood. Her smile faded. Something is wrong. Kale heard it too. A faint humming noise. Growing louder, sharper. He activated his visor. A red signal blinked in the distance. No, he muttered. That's an Earth signal. Another agent. The child backed away. More humans? Kale looked around. They weren't supposed to come, not yet. A bright blue light cut through the trees, burning one as it passed. The girl screamed. Kale pulled her behind a rock. Stay low. The light faded. Silence returned. Kale activated his communicator. Earth Command, this is Kale. Who authorized backup? A cold voice answered. This is Agent Milla. You were compromised. I'm here to extract you and secure alien tech. Kale hissed. They're not a threat. Don't engage them. Milla's voice was firm. We'll decide that. You're too close. Emotionally compromised. Kale ended the call. He turned to the girl. You need to leave. Take your people and hide. She looked confused. Why would your people hurt us? He looked down, ashamed. Because they don't understand you. And what they don't understand, they try to control. She touched his hand. Her skin was cool, calming. Then help them understand. Kale watched as she disappeared into the trees. The forest seemed to fold around her, hiding her presence. He stood alone now. The breathing forest had gone still. Then he turned toward the signal. Toward Milla, toward the storm that was coming. But deep down he had made a choice. He would not let Earth destroy what it feared. Not this time. The message wasn't supposed to get out. Kale's recordings were meant for a select few in Earth's high command. But someone leaked it. Now the whole planet was watching. At first, it started with whispers on private networks. A strange file. Uploaded anonymously, showing trees breathing, glowing forests reacting to alien emotions, and a human spy standing in the middle of it all. Then came the explosion. News stations, social media, secret forums, all of them lit up with one question. What did the aliens know about climate survival that humans didn't? In a dark government office back on Earth, Director Hellman stared at a large screen. On it, Kale's face appeared, fuzzy but clear enough. Behind him, the alien forest shimmered in beautiful colors. He was never cleared to speak, Hellman said coldly. Who leaked this? No one answered. His assistant, a nervous man with shaking hands, finally spoke. We're tracing the signal now, sir. But the leak has already spread to over 2 billion devices. Hellman turned away from the screen. Activate damage control. Say it's AI-generated footage. Fake alien propaganda, but it's real, sir, the assistant replied softly. Hellman's voice grew sharp. Real doesn't matter. Perception does. Far across space, Kale didn't know his message had gone public. He was too busy following the Earth signal deeper into the forest. His suit's radar blinked red. Someone was moving ahead, fast and heavy. He ducked under low branches and stepped carefully around glowing roots. Then he saw her. Agent Milla, dressed in dark armor. Her cloak suit carried more advanced tech than his. She held a glowing tool in one hand, scanning the trees. Her other hand was on her weapon. Milla, Kale called out. She turned sharply. You shouldn't be here. I was sent first, Kale replied. And I already made contact. The Zoltrax aren't hostile. Milla didn't lower her weapon. They're alien. That's enough reason to be cautious. Kale stepped closer. You saw the forest. You saw how it reacts to peace, to emotion. We could learn from them, maybe even save Earth. Milla scoffed. Or they could be manipulating what we see. Making you trust them so they can control you. They're not like that, Kale said firmly. They offered help before. A long time ago. Earth ignored them, attacked them. Milla's eyes narrowed. Where did you hear that? Kale hesitated. One of them told me. A child. Milla laughed, bitter and sharp. You're listening to alien children now. You've gone soft. He stepped in front of her. Don't make this about fear. Make it about facts. We can't win against a force we don't understand. Milla lowered her scanner and looked him straight in the eye. You think this is about understanding? It's about control. If they can fix a planet using emotions and light, imagine what Earth could do with that kind of power. Kale's heart sank. You want to take it. Use it like a weapon. If that's what it takes to survive, she said coldly. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the air. Both agents turned. From behind the trees, dozens of Zoltrax appeared, quiet, graceful, glowing. The small Zoltrax girl stepped forward. Her eyes locked on Kale, then on Milla. You brought another, she said. Mylla raised her weapon. Back off. Don't. Kale shouted, grabbing her arm. But it was too late. The moment her weapon powered up, the forest reacted. The air thickened, trees groaned. The ground shook slightly. Bright vines snapped out of the soil, wrapping around Milla's legs and arms. What the? She screamed, trying to fight them. Kale jumped forward, slicing the vines with his knife. They're protecting themselves. The girl stepped forward again, calm. We warned you. This place feels everything. Milla fell to her knees. The vines released her slowly, sensing her fear. Kale looked at the Zoltrax. You need to leave. Earth knows now. They've seen everything. They'll come. The girl's expression didn't change. We know. Kale's eyes widened. You leaked the video? No, she said. The forest did. He stared in shock. What? She placed a hand on a tree trunk. A wave of light spread through the bark like a signal. Your suit touched the forest. Your emotions passed into it. Your recordings became part of it. It shared your truth. Kale turned to Milla, who sat stunned on the ground. They sent you to steal, he said. But the truth's already out. Back on Earth, protests had begun. Scientists demanded answers. Citizens asked why this information was hidden. Climate activists shouted in the streets that the leak had started a storm. But not of War of Hope. In a hidden government room, Director Hellman watched the screens in silence. People weren't afraid. They were inspired. He clenched his fists. Back on Zinnar, Milla stood slowly. We'll still come. We'll still try to take it. Kale looked at her, sadness in his voice. Maybe, but now the world knows. And not everyone wants war. The child nodded. Some want peace. Kale stepped back, staring at the forest around him. He saw beauty, strength, and something Earth had lost long ago. Harmony. He turned to Milla. We have a choice now. Let's not repeat history. She didn't reply. But she didn't raise her weapon again. Above them, the trees breathed softly. The forest was watching. And this time, Earth was listening. The air was colder than usual. The trees whispered less. The ground pulsed slower beneath Kale's feet. Something had changed. Kale moved carefully through the edge of the breathing forest. He checked his scanner. The energy levels were dropping. The forest wasn't reacting the same way it did before. It's afraid, Kale said quietly. Or it senses danger. Behind him, the small Zoltrax girl followed silently. She had insisted on staying near him since the forest reacted to him less than others. Somehow his presence helped it remain calm. I think someone else is here, Kale said. Yes, she replied, but not like you. This one burns. Kale didn't like the sound of that. He walked toward the signal he'd picked up earlier. Kale didn't like the sound of that. He walked toward the sound of that. He walked toward the signal he'd picked up earlier. Faint trace of human tech. It didn't match Milla's pattern. This was new, unknown. As he pushed through a thick wall of glowing vines, he heard something ahead. Voices. Mechanical sounds. A low hum. He crept closer and saw a small clearing. In the center stood a tall man wearing a black cloak suit. His helmet was off. Kale recognized him instantly. Agent Rhodes. He was Earth's best spy, famous for completing missions no one else would touch. If Rhodes was here, it meant one thing. Earth had stopped trusting Kale and Milla. Kale watched as Rhodes placed a strange device into the soil. It blinked red. Nearby, 2 floating drones scanned the trees, capturing samples and reading energy levels. Kale stepped out. "You shouldn't be here." Rhodes didn't even look surprised. "Ah, Kale. I thought you'd show up eventually." Kale kept his hands away from his weapon. "This forest is alive. It reacts to emotion. You can't just dig into it." "I'm not here to study it," Rhodes said. "I'm here to control it." Kale's stomach twisted. "You don't understand what you're touching." "Oh, I do," Rhodes said calmly. "Earth is in chaos. They want answers. They want power. I'm here to take that power back with me." Kale stepped forward. "You'll destroy it." Rhodes gave a cold smile. "Better we destroy it than let it fall into enemy hands." "This isn't a weapon," Kale snapped. "It's a living system, a peaceful one. Then why is Earth afraid of it?" Rhodes asked. "Because they don't understand it," Kale said. Rhodes finally turned to face him. "Then maybe we teach them to fear it even more." Behind them, the Zoltrax girl stepped out from the trees. Her eyes glowed with concern. Rhodes blinked. "Is that one of them?" Kale moved between them. "She's a child. Don't touch her." But Rhodes was already activating his weapon. "Aw. Life reacts to fear, right? Let's see what happens when we give it something real to fear." He raised the weapon and fired it into a nearby tree. The effect was immediate. The forest screamed, not in sound, but in motion. Vines lashed out of the ground. The air grew thick with bright mist. The trees bent toward the intruder. Flowers exploded in color and then vanished. Rhodes stumbled backward. "What the?" The ground shook violently. Roots wrapped around Rhodes' legs, yanking him down. Kale rushed forward, grabbing his arm. "Call off the drones." "I can't," Rhodes shouted. "They're on auto-run." Kale slammed his fist against the control panel on Rhodes' belt. The drones powered down and crashed to the ground. The vines stopped moving. Silence returned. Kale pulled Rhodes to his feet. "You almost triggered a total collapse. This forest could destroy itself trying to protect its core." Rhodes gasped for breath. "This thing, it's too powerful." Kale nodded. "And still peaceful, until you attacked it." The Zoltrax girl stepped closer and placed a hand on the ground. The forest calmed instantly. The vines pulled back. The color returned slowly. "She's the key," Kale said. "She understands the forest. She connects with it." Rhodes stared at her. "She's just a child." "Exactly," Kale replied. "They don't train for power. They grow with it." Rhodes looked around, slowly realizing what he was part of. "Maybe Earth's not ready for this," he said quietly. Kale sighed. "Then we need to make them ready." Later that night, Kale sent a message. "Earth Command, this is Agent Kale. Rhodes has made contact with the Zoltrax. No hostiles, no weapons, but we have something greater. A living system that responds to emotion, and it's scared of us." He paused, then added, "I suggest we stop sending spies and start sending students." He looked at the Zoltrax girl, who smiled gently at him. Rhodes stood beside him now. No longer a spy, just a man who had seen something he couldn't explain. The forest had survived another visitor. But how many more could it take? Kale followed the Zoltrax child through the forest. The sky above was dim, though no clouds were in sight. Something strange hung in the air, like a secret waiting to be spoken. "Where are we going?" Kale asked, stepping over glowing roots. "To the heart," the child replied softly. "To where the sky listens." Kale glanced up. The twin moons of Xenar had shifted positions. The stars here didn't twinkle, they pulsed, almost like breathing. After all the time he had spent on this alien world, Kale had learned one truth. Nothing on Xenar was still. Everything lived. Everything reacted. And now, the forest was leading him somewhere it had never shown before. They walked for hours until the trees began to thin. What replaced them wasn't forest, it was a wide, open field of glass-like stones. Each stone was smooth, glowing faintly with colors that changed as they stepped closer. Kale knelt down and touched one. It was warm. "What is this place?" The child smiled. "Memory." As they reached the center, a large pillar rose from the ground. It shimmered like liquid light. Kale stared, wide-eyed. He had never seen anything like it. "This is our sky core," she said. "Not the real sky, but the one beneath it. The truth." Kale walked slowly around the pillar. "You said it listens. What does that mean?" The girl placed her hand on the pillar. Instantly, images flashed in the air around them, holograms made of light and sound. Kale gasped out. The first image showed Earth green and alive centuries ago. Oceans were blue. Forests stretched wide. The next image showed ships leaving Earth, spreading into space. One ship carried strange symbols. "That's a human ship," Kale whispered. The girl nodded. "Long ago, we were part of you." Kale's heart pounded. You're from Earth?" "Not exactly," she replied. "We were left behind, not by choice." The hologram shifted again. A human leader, desperate and angry, pointed at a group of people. Scientists, thinkers, and children. They were loaded onto a ship and launched into deep space. "We were different," she said. "We believed Earth was hurting itself. We tried to stop it, but they called us traitors." Kale stood in shock. "They exiled you?" The girl nodded. "Our ancestors landed here. Xenar accepted us. We learned to live with it, not over it." Kale looked up at the sky core. The truth was deeper than anything he had imagined. "So you're people. The Zoltrax, you're humans?" "We were," she said. "Now we are something more." Kale turned away, his mind spinning. Back on Earth, no one knew this. They saw the Zoltrax as strange, alien, and dangerous. But they were once part of the same species. Earth had forgotten them. "They have to see this," Kale whispered. "The people on Earth, they need to know what we did. What we lost." Suddenly, the sky flickered above. Not a storm. Not clouds. A ship. A human one. Kale activated his visor. Incoming Earthcraft. Fast approach. Stealth class. The girl looked up, calm but alert. "More spies?" "Not this time," Kale said. "This ship is for extraction." He turned to her. "They're coming for me. Will you go?" she asked. Kale didn't answer. The ship descended quickly, its engines silent but powerful. A ramp opened. A soldier stepped out, holding a message. "Pad, Agent Kale," the soldier said. "You've been ordered to return. Director Hellman wants your report in person." Kale looked back at the child. "Can she come with me?" The soldier frowned. "That's not authorized." Kale stepped closer. "She's part of the story. No story is complete without the truth." The soldier hesitated, then spoke into his earpiece. After a moment, he nodded. "Director says one guest, no sudden moves." Kale turned to the girl. "Come with me, show them, make them see." She looked up at the forest one last time. Then she walked beside him, toward the ship. As they rose through Xenar's skies, Kale watched the planet grow smaller below. The trees still breathed. The air still shimmered. And somewhere deep inside, he knew Earth would never be the same again, because the truth was coming home. The shuttle landed quietly on Earth, far from the noise of cities. The sky was gray, and the air was thick with dust. Once, this land had been green. Now it was silent, dead soil beneath dying clouds. Kale stepped out of the ship, followed by the Zoltrax child. Her glowing skin dimmed slightly in the polluted light. "This place," she whispered. It feels broken. Cale nodded. It is. A black car waited near the landing pad. Soldiers stood by it, silent and tense. One of them opened the door. Director Hellman is waiting. Cale and the child were taken to a tall building, gray, cold, and quiet. They passed hallways lined with screens. On each one, Cale saw images of protests, news reports, and debates. His leaked recording had shaken the planet. Some people wanted to meet the Zoltrax. Others wanted to destroy them. In the main room, Director Hellman stood by a large glass window. He didn't turn around when they entered. "You caused quite a storm, Agent Cale," Hellman said. "Half the world sees you as a hero. The other half sees you as a traitor." "I told the truth," Cale replied. Hellman finally turned. His eyes landed on the child. "And this is your guest?" "She came to speak," Cale said. "To help." Hellman raised an eyebrow. "A child?" "She's more than that," Cale said. "You'll see." The girl stepped forward. "Your world is unbalanced. The sky does not listen. The land does. Not speak, you are out of rhythm." Hellman crossed his arms. "We're surviving." "Survival is not living," she replied. Cale spoke before Hellman could answer. "She showed me something. A sky core deep in Xenar. It holds the truth. Our people sent her ancestors away. We thought they were lost. But they built something better. Something we need." Hellman turned to his advisors. "The council is not ready to hear this. The people are scared. They want action, not answers. They want hope," Cale said. "Let her speak to them." Hellman's face was calm, but his voice turned cold. "You broke protocol. You're no longer in control here." Cale stepped closer. "Then who is?" Hellman walked to a screen and pressed a button. A live feed appeared. It showed a massive Earthship approaching Xenar's orbit. Weapons powered, troops on board. Cale's heart dropped. "What are you doing?" Hellman's voice was flat. "Securing the source. Before someone else does." "They'll fight back," Cale warned. "Not with guns, but with their world." "We'll be ready," Hellman said. "We've already built a counter-system, artificial roots. Synthetic storms. If we can copy what they do, we don't need them." Cale shook his head. "You'll fail. You can't fake a connection with a living world. It responds to trust, not control." Suddenly, the girl stepped forward. Her eyes glowed bright gold. "You are making a mistake." The lights in the room flickered. The floor vibrated slightly. One of Hellman's guards reached for his weapon. "No!" Cale shouted. "She's not attacking." The child placed her hand on the metal floor. The vibrations stopped. The light returned to normal. "I wanted peace," she said. "But if you bring war, the planet will answer." Hellman stared at her for a long moment. Then he gave the order. "Put her in containment. Keep Cale under watch." As guards stepped forward, the girl turned to Cale. "Tell them, if they touch the heart, the silence will break." "What silence?" Cale asked. She looked up. "The part of the forest that doesn't sleep. The one that remembers everything." She didn't fight as they took her away. That night, Cale sat in a gray cell. No windows, no sound. Just the weight of what was coming. He spoke into a hidden chip in his wrist. "One backup line, one last chance. To anyone listening. Earth is going to invade Xenar. They're calling it research, but it's a takeover. The Zoltrax trusted us, and we are about to betray them again. If we touch the core of their world, something ancient will awaken." She called it the silent part. "I think it's waiting." He paused. "We're not ready for what comes next." Far above, in the black sky, Earth's ship reached Xenar. And deep beneath the alien soil, the forest. Pulsed slowly, awake, waiting. The sky above Xenar was not calm anymore. Dark clouds twisted in unnatural shapes. Lightning flashed, but there was no thunder. The air had changed heavier. Like something was watching from above. Commander Reyna stood on the bridge of Earth's warship Dawnfire. Her face was cold, her voice steady. "Prepare the extraction teams. I want a full core scan within 6 hours." The soldiers saluted. "Yes, Commander." In the lower decks, machines hummed, drilling drones, scanners, and containment units. Everything was ready to pull out whatever energy source the Zoltrax world held beneath its surface. "This planet is alive," one technician whispered. "It doesn't want us here." "Shut up and focus," another replied. "We're following orders." On the surface of Xenar, massive drop pods fell like meteors. Each one dug into the soil, sending shockwaves across the forest. Trees bent unnaturally, but none broke. Instead, the roots moved quietly, carefully. In the far mountains, Zoltrax elders watched the sky darken. "They've begun," said the oldest one. "The humans do not listen." One of the younger leaders turned to her. "Should we stop them?" "No," she replied. "Xenar will." In the forests below, Kale moved silently through the trees. His stolen suit helped him stay invisible to Earth's drones. Beside him, the Zoltrax girl walked calmly, her glowing skin flickering with warning signals. "They are waking the wrong part of the planet," she said. "What does that mean?" Kale asked. "They're not just drilling the land. They're waking the memory beneath it." The first explosion came from Sector 9. A dig team had hit a layer of black crystal. It pulsed once, then shattered. All 10 soldiers vanished. Their comms went dead. Commander Reyna stared at the report. "Glitch in the data," she said. "Send a second team." By the time they landed, the forest had grown over the hole. Not slowly, instantly. Roots, vines, and thick branches had covered every sign of the drill. One soldier stepped forward. "This place... it's moving." The forest responded. The ground opened beneath them, swallowing machines and men. No screams, just silence. The girl felt it from miles away. "The planet is fighting back." Kale checked his map. "If they keep drilling, they'll reach the center soon." She stopped. "Then we must reach it first." At Earth HQ, Director Hellman watched the live feed. "Send everything. This is no longer a science mission. It's extraction at any cost." Warships began to descend. Fire lit the sky. Forests burned. The ground cracked under the weight of machines. But Xenar did not fall. It shifted. The roots rose from the soil like arms. Not wild, but controlled. Alive, they wrapped around the machines, crushing metal. Some roots burned, but many survived. They dug into the ship hulls, pulling them down. In the heart of the forest, Kale and the girl reached the edge of a glowing canyon. Deep inside, a giant orb pulsed with golden light. "That's it," she said. "The Sky Core." "It's beautiful," Kale whispered. "It remembers everything," she replied. "It holds the breath of every tree, the dream of every storm, the pain of every scar." Behind them, footsteps, soldiers. Commander Reyna appeared, weapon ready. "Step away," she ordered. "This mission ends now." Kale stood between her and the core. "You don't understand." "If you touch it," Reyna fired. The blast hit Kale in the shoulder. He fell, groaning. The girl stepped forward, hands glowing. The orb behind her shimmered. Reyna raised her gun again, but froze. The ground beneath her cracked. "Warning," her cum buzzed. "Massive energy spike. The core is reacting." Too late. The orb opened like an eye. Light poured out, not just bright, but full of sound. A deep hum. A voice from the roots of the world. Not words. Memory. Every soldier froze. They saw the history of Xenar, the pain of invasion, the grief of betrayal, the beauty of its rebirth. They dropped their weapons, one by one. Commander Reyna tried to speak, but her voice failed. She fell to her knees, eyes wide. "I didn't know." The girl stepped closer to the orb. Her voice was soft but firm. We gave you a chance. Again. But your machines chose war. Now, Xenar chooses silence. A powerful pulse shot across the planet. Every machine shut down. Ships crashed, but softly, guided down by vines. Guns melted. Batteries drained. And then, silence. Real silence. Later, Kale woke in a soft bed of moss. His wound was gone. The girl sat beside him. It didn't kill them, Kale said. No. She replied. But it showed them what they really are. Will they leave? They will think, she said. Some will change. Others won't. But Xenar is awake now. It will not be surprised again. Kale nodded. What about me? She looked at him. You are part of both worlds. That is your gift and your burden. He smiled weakly. Great, she stood up. Rest now, the war is over. He looked up at the sky. It was blue again, the forest breathed, and the silence felt alive. The message wasn't supposed to exist. Buried deep in Earth's abandoned satellite archives, a file blinked awake for the first time in 15 years. A single phrase flashed across the screen. Do not open. Level Omega lock. Agent Yalin stared at the message on his screen. His hands were sweating. This wasn't here yesterday, he whispered. Behind him. His partner Mira leaned closer. Where did it come from? Yalin shook his head. That's the thing. I didn't pull. It found me. He entered his password and pressed enter. The screen turned black. Then came a low beep. File unlocked. Warning. Conscious data detected. Conscious data? Mira asked, stepping back. The screen flashed again. A calm female voice spoke. Hello. Agent Yalin. This is a restricted recording from Project Earthvale. You are not authorized, but the truth demands witnesses. Yalin stared in disbelief. Project Earthvale? I've never heard of it. The screen lit up with an old video. The date read 2078, before the first alien contact. Before the first extraction mission. The video showed a lab. Scientists stood around a glowing orb. One of them spoke into the camera. We've made contact, not with aliens, but with Earth itself. What the hell? Mira whispered. The footage continued. The scientist's face looked tired, scared. We drilled into the wrong part of the planet. We thought it was just magma, rocks, energy, but we found memory. Earth remembers. It's alive. Yalin paused the video. This can't be real. It explains too much, Mira said. The failed expeditions, the sudden equipment shutdowns, the way ships just disappear over the Atlantic zone. They kept watching. The scientist leaned closer to the camera. We were told to shut it down. To hide everything. They said the public couldn't know the truth. They said if people learned Earth had a mind of its own, they'd panic. Another voice in the room screamed, off camera. Then, static. The video ended. Jalen leaned back. Why would they hide this? Mira looked serious now. Because we were never in control. Not really. The screen lit up again. New text appeared. Reveal or delete? Yalin hesitated. His finger hovered over the keys. I need to know more, he said. He clicked reveal. A flood of data poured in. Maps, voice logs, classified footage. Project Earthvale wasn't small. It had hundreds of scientists, billions in funding. And one clear goal: do not wake the core. They knew about Xena, Mira whispered. Before we even went there, Yalin nodded. They knew all planets like Earth are alive, and they were trying to mine them anyway. Suddenly, the door burst open. Armed men entered black suits. No insignias. Step away from the console. One of them shouted. Jalen stood slowly. You knew, didn't you? The leader didn't answer. He raised his weapon. Delete the file, or we will. Mira stepped forward. You can't keep this hidden forever. The man laughed. We don't need to keep it hidden forever, just long enough. Jalen's hand moved fast. He tapped the Emergency uplink. A red light flashed. Transmission sent. Global backup complete. The man froze. What did you do? Yalan smiled. The truth is out. He hit the floor as the shot rang out. Pain exploded in his side. Mira screamed and grabbed him, dragging him out through a side door as alarms blared. Gunfire echoed behind them. They escaped into the tunnels. Every screen on every wall now blinked with the same message. Project Earthveil unlocked. Around the world, people began seeing the files. News channels were hacked. Phones lit up. Tablets glowed with forbidden images. The truth could not be stopped. In a small home in Brazil, a farmer dropped his cup as the video played. In a frozen station in Siberia, a researcher wept at the data. In the heart of Africa, a tribal elder nodded. We always knew Earth was alive. Governments panicked. They tried to shut down the signal. But the truth had already taken root. The planet responded. Not with violence, with clarity. Earth's sky shimmered. Not lightning. Not fire, something deeper. A ripple through the clouds. People looked up. And they listened. The voice came not through machines, but through thoughts, through dreams, through connection. A single feeling echoed across the world. You have been heard. In the medical bay of a hidden base, Mira sat beside Yalan. His wound was healing. Slowly. You did it, she whispered. He winced. We did it. Outside, the world was changing. Machines were quiet. Nature was loud. People were awake. And the thing they didn't want anyone to know was known by everyone.